are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports One. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
Back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Report. And this morning, once again, it is the Tony and Barnes Show. Anthony, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well today, dude. It's Thursday. It's an NFL Thursday. I'm not going to watch the NFL, though, because on Amazon Prime. What am I going to do there?
Well, you don't have Amazon Prime, or you don't want to watch it?
I don't want to watch it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing, too, you want to watch the Mets game instead, or?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
7:05 tonight, I think.
Yeah.
So,
And Boomer was actually talking about it on the morning show today, how annoying it is because the game being on Prime, to switch back and forth, it's not just the back button.
Right.
So
no, I mean, I guess, and then for me, like, I don't have, like, a TV that has Prime.
Oh, a smart TV?
I don't have a smart TV.
Okay.
So, like, I guess I would set up a laptop, but it's like.
Yeah.
I'm not paying attention.
I have a feeling, though, you are a little curious how Michaels and Herbstreit will sound.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm sure I'll catch some highlights or something on Instagram.
Yeah. I've missed Michaels. It's been a good start to the season for NFL, but I've missed Al Michaels, honestly. I mean, really, him and Kenny Singleton, top of my list for broadcasting.
Before coming in hot. Hey, fellas.
Before.
All over the place. Before is back on the course today, I think.
Yeah. What is it? 107, I'm guessing, yesterday for
Before. He mentioned that he went to the Met game yesterday.
He went to the Met game. Wow.
During the gaming corner, he was like, all right, I gotta go.
Do you think he left halfway through?
No.
You loyal fans stuck it out.
Yeah.
Thought there was gonna be a rally type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much we got to talk about today. Of course, like you mentioned, we got the first Thursday night football game on Amazon Prime tonight. We got baseball to talk about, the first event of the 2022-2023 PGA Tour season starting today in California.
Hot dog.
So a lot to go over, but let's start, as we always do, in the world of Major League Baseball.
2-2, he got him swinging. The back-to-back strikeouts for Robbie Ray.
There's damage right there. Shohei, way, Cy Young. Not where did that land?
Smoke to Chapman, who leaps up and grabs it.
Story spins and fires. Out at first.
There it goes. See ya. Home run, Aaron Judge.
All right. That one, I don't believe will ever get old.
I don't think so. Barney, dude. Did you watch Barney when you were a kid?
Yes. Wow. But I would say between Rugrats and Rocket Power, those are my favorite shows.
Rocket Power is where it's at, dude.
Yeah,
The
Uncle
sports,
Tito,
Uncle Tito,
hang loose.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tony, we did have a Yankee game in Boston last night, and the good fortunes are once again with your New York Yankees as they win their fourth straight game here, sweeping this small 2-game series with a 5-3 victory, picking up their 87th victory of the season. But let's talk about how we got there. We had Brian Bayo versus Nestor Cortez. And the scoring actually didn't start till the 5th inning, which we had a play, which I guess you could refer to it as a little league home run. Any way we could get some video on that, Tony?
Sure, dude.
Gleyber Torres, little league home run. It'll come up. But basically, Gleyber comes up, you had Hicks and Judge on base, and what should have been an RBI single turned into a little league 3-run homer, and really one of the worst fielding performances I've ever seen between the catcher and just not getting the runner at home. And it was absolutely ridiculous. So definitely we want everyone to take a look at this.
Oh yeah, we're in the film room right now, Brian. Got a little ad here. As the film room
typically
does. I have not.
Did you hear about it?
I heard about it. Yeah,
Okay.
I have not seen this.
And you'll see at the end of this play, which was big, and Aaron Judge assisting on this. He's standing at home waiting for Glaber to, the third and final run of that play coming in. He tells them to slide to the right to avoid the tag, which was a heads up move by no other than the legend that is Aaron Judge.
Line drive, it's a base hit to right field. Charging is Verdugo. He comes up throwing. Here comes Hicks. He'll score. Moving to third is Judge.
Oh, no.
Gets by the first baseman Arroyo. Judge will score. Here comes Gleyber Torres. He's coming home. And the throw is not in time. A Little League 3-run home run. And it's 3-0 Yankees.
What's your thoughts on
Torres stays hot.
I mean, hey, it's nice that Gleyber Torres is staying hot, I suppose, but I mean that is just that kind of reminds me of that play. It was Javi Baez against the Pirates. I think.
Oh my God, no, but I think that one. Only reason that was worse is because the guy chased him back to home.
Yeah,
plate.
he just stuck on first.
Go home. What do you mean? What are you doing?
But even so, that is a
an all-timer.
Pretty poor display of defense and just baseball IQ at that point, and it's just, I mean, that's just disgraceful.
And that play aside, I mean, either way, I mean, that would have been an RBI single for Gleyber. But the whole thing is here, and he ended up going 3 for 5. And it just all of a sudden, after really just an embarrassing performance by Gleyber and a lot of fan resistance, geez, we keep throwing this guy out here. He's doing absolutely nothing. One of the worst OPSs in the second half. And then all of a sudden, he's really caught fire in that approach, Tony. Gleyber Torres is right when he's hitting the ball the opposite way.
Right.
Because when he's trying to pull it, for whatever reason, he's way under it. And just has no ability to drive the ball. So huge game for him last night. So that started out the scoring, 3-0 lead. Nestor did allow a double by Wong in the bottom of the fifth to score former Yankee Rob Refsnyder. So that made it 3-1. And then, IKF singles, steals second, and then Jose Trevino with a double to make it 4-1. And then in the 8th inning, Jonathan Loaizaga, really not any fault of his own, just induces a lot of ground balls. And, there was some struggles fielding them. There was an error by Marwin Gonzalez, who I know he can play first base, not to mention pretty much every position on the field, other than catcher and of course, pitcher. But if you look at what happened here, so Loaizaga comes in, Reese McGuire singles to left. Then Tommy Pham singles to left as well. So you got first and second, nobody out. And then, you have Josh Donaldson here fielding a grounder from Alex Verdugo, steps on third, fakes a throw to first. And I guess the whole reason he really didn't have much of a shot, to get Verdugo at first. So he pump fakes because Pham most likely would have taken off for third, and then you would have had a runner on third when you didn't need to. And then Xander Bogaerts comes up with a bloop single, and the runners had to hold up. So that loaded the bases. And then Rafael Devers, hits a grounder. And of course, like I said, Marwin Gonzalez just boots it. And so that makes everybody safe. Tommy Pham scores to make it 4-2. JD Martinez comes up, yet another ground ball. So, Loaizaga's fastball, sinker, whatever you want to call it, really inducing some grounders here. And they get, Devers out at second, relay it to first. Initial call on the field is safe. So that would make it 4-3. However, the Yankees challenge, and it was one of these craziest things where the runner appeared to, beat the throw, but I've never seen this. Somehow his foot just went completely over the bag and didn't touch it by the smallest of margins. So they review it. He's out, double play. So that, the game stays at 4-2, which was big. And then, you look at the top of the ninth here, Judge let off with a strikeout against Ryan Brazier. Stanton doubles to deep center. And then LeCastro, reaches on, fielding error and scores. The center fielder on a fly ball just completely, misjudges it. So, then you get another run. So that made it 5-2. Donaldson flies out, and then Oswaldo Cabrera strikes out. So on to the bottom of the ninth, Clay Holmes in, and he lets up a leadoff double. So it's just like Clay Holmes, here we go again, getting into some type of trouble. But he does induce on the next play a grounder to third. Casas makes the first out of the inning. That
Bob.
And then, so that makes it 1 out. Kiki Hernandez comes up. Yet another.
Speaking of rocket power.
And speaking of rocket power, speaking of legends, the one, the only, Michael Theophil, the legend. So that made it 2 outs, run in. So 5-3. Then Reese McGuire up, and Clay Holmes gets him for the last out of the inning. The Yankees win. 5-3. Like I said, sweeping, this short 2-game series, and it was big for them to hang on here. And I know, Boston, a last place team, not in the playoff race anymore. But I've mentioned to you many times, Tony. It's just Fenway Park, and especially just Yankees, Red Sox in general. Never an easy game. Doesn't matter how well or how poor the teams are playing. They're always giving it their all. So after some disappointment the last time they played the Red Sox, and if you think back to when I was at the game, I think it was in July, where they, won the first 2, then lost the last 2. You want it to leave Fenway Park with a good taste in your mouth. So they definitely do that. And I believe it's 1 4-game set left between the two teams at Yankee Stadium, coming up next weekend. So all in all, you have to feel really good if you're the Yankees. And like I mentioned to you before this show, reinforcements on the way. I'm being told Luis Severino possibly starting 1 week from yesterday against the Pirates at home. So that would be big. Harrison Bader expected to join the team, if not over the weekend, definitely by Monday. He did homer for Double-A Somerset yesterday. So that'll be huge that we can plug him in the lineup. Zach Britton, a return around the corner as well. He's looked good in his rehabilitation efforts. And Anthony Rizzo, I would expect at some point to join the team next week. Just not sure on LeMahieu. That might be really, towards the end of the season. And then hopefully, and I haven't seen any updates on this, Matt Carpenter at some point. So you think about, how well they've been playing recently, 4 in a row and winning their last 3 series. And the fact that you could add all of those guys back to this lineup. And then of course, jettison, a guy off the roster like Aaron Hicks. There's no way he's going to be on the postseason roster. You just feel pretty good. So, an off day today, 3-game series in Milwaukee. So, a little bit of a different feel there. I mean, of course, the Yankees, don't, often play Milwaukee. We know all that's changing next year. But going to be something different, that's for sure. So tomorrow's game, 8:10 from Milwaukee. And I just want to see if we have announced. Okay, yeah, so it is going to be Frankie Montas versus Jason Alexander. So you feel pretty good about that matchup. Alexander 2-3, 5.29. So magic number now down to 14, which is a great feeling as well. We had the Rays yesterday, coming away with another loss to Toronto. They've lost 3 out of 4, 1 more game between them today. So you feel like they're beating up on each other. And the Yankees find themselves in a pretty good place. I mean, obviously, job isn't done yet, but you have a 6-game lead here. Just a few series left in the season, and just looking to finish the right way. So it's just they've done a good job since the calendar turned of really riding the ship here, and it's you feel pretty good about it as a Yankee fan.
Well, I could imagine there, Brian. I mean, this is we're closing in here, and like you said, the fact that the Yankees have some reinforcements, I think, is certainly going to help. Take some pressure off of Judge, of I guess being the one only who hits, and when you think about Torres is doing really well, but I mean, you never know. Like you mentioned, you guys kind of wanted him, wanted his head, at various points with the season. So to get the Carpenter back, to get Rizzo back, and then some help for pitching as well between Britton and Sevy. I mean, that's going to be great for when the postseason hits, dude, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So
do you think these guys are going to be able to kind of hit the ground running here, or you think there's going to be like some time to be like, all right, he's just coming back off the IL? Like,
I just think we're so deep right now that it just doesn't, it doesn't matter. And I would imagine anytime, you have a lengthy layoff, that's going to happen. Like we've seen, for instance, and I know it wasn't a long absence, but Nestor Cortez coming off the IL, and they're still building his pitch count back up, and I think they're being a little conservative with it. But nevertheless, I mean, he's had 2 strong performances coming out the injured list. I expect to see something similar with Sevy. He's made a bunch of rehab starts, and in his mind, he was ready weeks ago. So I think he'll be just fine. Harrison Bader, a new environment, but I just feel like he's so energized by joining the Yankees, growing up in Bronxville. I think he's just really pumped up, and he brings some intensity, the intensity that they hope to get from Josh Donaldson. And it's like, sure, they've somewhat got it, but it comes almost more as an embarrassment. I mean, he's bat flipping fly balls. He's talking shit to pitchers that he's striking out against.
Oh my God.
That's not the type of intensity that they had in mind.
Is he bat flipping fly balls?
He just did it last night.
Really?
Yeah.
Like thinking like, oh, this
It's
is out.
He's done it so many times. Like the only time that I would say that he really nailed it was that walk-off grand slam against, I think it was the Rays.
Yeah, I think so.
Month plus ago.
Oh, here we go. Bang, Prefer. Yankees got lucky because Boston disastrous defense. Red Sox pitcher Brayan Bello pitched a fantastic game on Wednesday night and continues to flash elite stuff. Is that true? That's the young dude.
Yeah, I don't know about the elite stuff, Prefer. His numbers aren't that great this year.
Because he got absolutely popped his first few starts here.
Yeah. And I know he's settled in a little bit, but at the end of the day, I mean, I don't think the Yankees struggled too much. 9 hits in this game, including 6 off of Bayo, over 5 innings. And listen, he could have a future. He's very young. But I don't really think it's that much luck here. I mean, you look at it, Gleyber Torres has been hot, and that's really just lifted up this lineup. And then, you get some contributions from IKF, as well as, Stanton, maybe, hopefully after that double in the, in the 9th there coming out of it, he's definitely struggled. But you think about the combination of them, we know what Judge is doing. And then between reinforcements and guys occasionally contributing, like Trevino, like IKF, I mean, you feel pretty good. So gearing up for the stretch run, it feels good to, like I said, really kind of get on a good streak here. I believe 8 out of their last 10 they've won. After so many different numbers we could give you of just terrible baseball. And actually, IKF yesterday with his 20th stolen base, two stolen bases, actually.
Nice.
First person to do it since Jacoby Ellsbury and Brett Gardner a couple years back.
Wow.
So, the Yankees obviously not synonymous with base stealing, but I look forward in the future, Tony. That's going to be very common on this team. And even Aaron Judge, I think this year has 15 stolen bases. And they've obviously ran more this year than they ever have. But then you think about, Peraza and Volpe. I mean, stealing is a very big, part of their game. So that's going to be really exciting and just a big youth movement coming up. But that's, a little ways away, but just something to look forward to.
As we have Brian's #1 fan checking in. I believe this is Choker. Yes, it is. Good morning, guys. Go Yankees, he says.
Good morning, Chokery. I know he's pumped up. He was watching these last couple of games against the Red Sox, and he, just like myself, just always enjoys beating the Red Sox. And it's just funny, Tony, because I feel like this year, I've kind of spent a lot of time on the Mets and, animosity there. But I'll tell you, Boston Red Sox, #1 enemy. It just doesn't doesn't feel like it this year just because they haven't been in it.
Yeah,
they've embarrassed themselves. But I do love that it's like, I've definitely had Red Sox fans, attack me before, and Chokery knows a couple of them himself. Just a little arrogance, thinking that they're all that. And I know, over the past, 10, 15 years, they've had our number, but not anymore. I don't think they're headed in the right direction. And I just think, we have a lot more to look forward to. And I love the way we're playing right now. And it's coming at the right time. And that's the best part. And that stretch was so painful. But I just feel like there's so much to be excited about between the guys coming back. Obviously the postseason coming up, and then this pursuit of the record with Aaron Judge. It seems like a formality at this point. Plenty of time left for that. So all in all, it's just really exciting. And I almost wish we did have a game tonight. But I know, traveling to Milwaukee, that's a big stretch there. So I'm sure they just want to kind of settle in, rest up. And, Milwaukee is, fighting for their playoff lives right now. So they're going to give the Yankees all that they can handle. But I do feel good about our advantages, with the pitching matchup. And I look for Frankie Montas. He's just been very, very mediocre. And it's funny, they obviously won't do it, Tony, but is it just me, or could you argue with Severino coming back that really he deserves to lose his rotation spot, not Domingo Germán, who's actually pitched pretty well of recent?
Yeah, but there's no way there.
There's no way. But I'm just saying it really, that would probably be more beneficial for the team. And it's just going to be interesting. I mean, honestly, and I know they won't do this either, but I have him as my 4 starter for the postseason.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what would you do? Because I know obviously Cole, obviously Nestor, and then I'm giving 70-3. I just was there. He's
and
got
Germán, your 4th starter.
Actually, I was thinking Tyone, but they're interchangeable in my mind.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I thought you meant Sevy as your 4 starter, Germán as 3, but that's
I was saying Montas at best 4, but I have a feeling. Actually, maybe they will start him 4, but I just can't see him pitching out of the bullpen. But I guess it depends, how these few starts go here. So that's really all I have on the Yankees, and we'll obviously talk more about that series with the Brewers tomorrow. But now it's time to talk about the New York Mets coming off a disappointing series with the Cubs as they get swept with a loss yesterday. And Tony, if you could just kind of break it all down for us, how we got there and just what the heck is going on.
So yesterday, we had David Peterson at the start. And that was obviously the first mistake. He walked his first 3 batters. Obviously, Brian, that's not the start you're looking for when you're walking the bases loaded in the first inning. And then from there, I think it was just an RBI double in the, right in corner, right field. And then after that, it was a single. He was just giving up hits left and right. He did not last the inning. I think he got 2 outs, maybe. I don't even think he did get 2 outs, to be honest. He got 1 out, 2 hits, 5 earned runs, the 3 walks. And that 1 out happened to be a strikeout, I guess. Good for him. Woohoo. But then you get Trevor Williams coming in. And obviously, the narrative behind these 2 pitchers isn't anything good. But Trevor Williams did okay. He gave you 4 1/3, giving up only 1 earned run. But think about it. After the first inning, it's 6-0. Okay, because Trevor came in, gave another hit. I think it was, I don't know, maybe an RBI single, whatever. Obviously, the Cubs were just absolutely pouring it on the Mets at that point. And think about, coming into this game, obviously the Mets wanting the win, needing the win, pumping themselves up. And you just come out and, whatever adrenaline you have, whatever positive attitude you have gets absolutely stomped within the first half hour of the game because of the way your pitcher started off this game. There's really no excuse for Peterson to get popped here. Even a mediocre pitcher against a lineup like the Cubs, they're not a great team. There's no reason why you should be having issues with them hitting on you. Even if your location isn't there, there must have been one pitch you could have went to. There must have been something you could have done to not let up 5 runs in the first inning. And then so that's kind of the story of the first inning, and based on the way the Mets were playing in terms of their offense the past few week and a half, 2 weeks, you're thinking at that point, wow, 6-0. Everyone kind of knew it. I mean, it would be a very fat chance that the Mets would come back. They tried to. They had a few innings where they had some good 2-out at bats, which they've done all season, and this was a Mets season that's been so good where they were able to grind out these wins, to grit it out, to have that good attitude late in the game, string along good at bats. But obviously, with the offense here, they're having some issue. We had some bright spots. Nito had a home run for, I think, second home run this week, also second home run of the season. Alonso hit back-to-back home runs. Between yesterday and today, another home run in the 8th, and it's just like, unfortunately, we had no men on base, so they were just solo home runs. Not really getting much going. Not to mention, the Alonso one was pretty late. Nito was in the 3rd, so it's like 6-1 at that point. How happy are you about that? And just the hitting, I guess, was not there. When you kind of look at people's lines here, Nimmo starting off the lineup, he was 0 for 4. Kana was 1 for 4. Lindor was 1 for 4. Alonso 1 for 4 with the home run, obviously, though. Vientos, who's been at the DH spot, he's 0 for 4 right now. Again, I understand. Obviously, you're not going to put Vientos at third base because of, Escobar and how well he's been doing. But I feel like just put him in the field somewhere. Again, like, throw him in the outfield, I feel.
So has he
Like,
played outfield in the minors?
A little bit.
Okay.
Like he's not labeled as one, but he's been put out there as an outfielder. Like maybe a game or two. It's
listen, I haven't studied too much tape, but you're telling me he can't play a better right field than Darren Ruff?
That's what I mean, dude. And I think it's kind of stupid. And I suppose Nito bottom of the lineup went 2 for 3. That's good with him. But I mean, you weren't really getting those typical Met games where it's like, oh wow, like we just strung along like 3 good hits. McNeil hit a sac fly RBI. You're not scoring like that right now. And against someone like a team like the Cubs, someone like Drew Smiley, that kind of should have happened. So obviously a disappointing loss here, getting swept. I think I heard Cohen say it was the first time this season the Mets got swept in a 3-game series.
Yeah, I saw Steve Gelb's tweet that as well.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, this is something that hasn't happened this season. Mets are still first in the NL East. They still have a great record. They're 89-55. Thankfully, and I think luckily that the Braves lost last night, so they're still in the lead by half a game. I think that's a huge bright spot here, because I think it's kind of a no harm, no foul kind of aspect. You're kind of moving on to Pittsburgh here. I know people have mentioned how easy their schedule is. When's the last time the Mets had a fucking day off, huh?
Yeah.
I think maybe they had a rain out last week or something, but I mean, other than that, dude, they've been playing every single day. And they don't really rest their players that often at all. I honestly could not tell you the last time Lindor or Alonso was resting, or even someone like Marcana, honestly. So I'd imagine, that is wearing on them a little bit. Obviously, there's lots of pressure on them to kind of perform here. And when you go out there and your pitcher just gets absolutely shellacked, I mean, we've talked about it. These games where the Mets have had kind of a colossal loss, it's when the pitcher goes out there in the first inning, gives up 4 runs or more. So I mean, I don't think it's too much to ask your pitcher just to fucking hold it down in the first inning. But good news, I suppose, as I actually prefer. On the bright side, Mad Max rehab start yesterday, and the legend is coming back next week, which is great to see. And then what I was going to mention too, before beat me to it, Mets bullpen gave up only 1 run in 8 innings. Like I mentioned, Trevor Williams 4 1/3 coming out of the bullpen. That's pretty strong. Givens looked good. May looked good. It was kind of nice to see the bullpen, only give up that 1 run between, I think, the 4 or 5 guys. So that's nice to see. And you think about it, I mean, if Peterson, gave you 4 innings of 1 run baseball and your bullpen did that, I mean, it would have been a victory, right? Obviously, not so, woulda, coulda, shoulda, I suppose. But yeah, definitely a tough loss for the Mets here. But like I mentioned, bright spots. They're still in the lead for the NL East. We have Pittsburgh here, and seemingly, the Braves. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily just a one-off thing here. They're struggling a little bit, so maybe we can take advantage of that. That would be nice. So
Yeah, yeah, and listen, I mean, it's obviously been a tough stretch, and this kind of really caps the height of it. Getting swept by a team like the Cubs. But like you said, I mean, they are fortunate that the Braves. I think it's what 2 out of 3 they lost to San Francisco. You didn't expect that to happen. So now it's just about just winning as many games as you can going forward, because now, which was once an insurmountable lead on that third team in the National League. I believe it's 4 games with the Cardinals. So, let's say the Mets rip off a 2-8 here. They could be looking at having to play the wild card series regardless if they win a division. So
Right.
it's like now is the time. I mean, it's 4 games against friggin' Pittsburgh. We saw how well they hit against them last time they played. So, I mean, I couldn't think of a better team to face right now to get the offense on track. Because I know, like yesterday, for instance, Peterson didn't pitch well, but I don't think pitching is a concern other than health. As long as DeGrom and Scherzer are healthy, they'll be just fine. They'll pitch well enough. It's just like, how can we with certainty know that this offense is turned around? And I mean, I know it's as simple as guys just doing their job, of course, but I mean, is there anything else you could point to? Like, what is it going to take to get the offense churning, the way it was a month ago or, of even a few weeks ago?
Well, like I mentioned, I think it's just going to be these guys stringing along good hits. I mean, I think all it really takes right now is one inning to kind of just, I guess, shake that dust off of the shitty offensive games we've been having. Like quite literally, like Nimmo, like just a couple singles to lead off, right, and maybe Alonso with like an RBI double or a 3-run dinger, just scoring with runners on base. I feel like any home run we've had, the Lindor home run a couple days ago, solo home run. No one's on base. There's a significant deficit in the score. So one home run feels like dog shit. Feels like it's not even worth having it, right? So getting men on base, just stringing along good hits, okay, and bringing those guys in. We've seen them I think there was maybe twice last night where there was like runners on second and third for the Mets, and they couldn't convert. So, I mean, like that, those are little things that they're not really doing and they've been doing before that I think can obviously, hype up the dugout, hype up the players, and kind of elevate everyone's level of play. And that's really all it takes. I think at this point, once that happens, I think they're gonna start pouring on runs. And we've seen it, I think, last weekend against Pittsburgh when we scored like 11 runs. It was early, it was often, it was phenomenal. And that's what has to happen.
Yeah, because I think that just gives everybody on the team a sense of confidence,
Right.
that they're going to be able to keep pushing forward like that. And instead of pressing, oh my God, we're down 6 runs in the first inning. How are we going to do this? We haven't been
Right.
hitting well. And one thing too that I have to give you credit for is you really called this yesterday. You said you expect the offense to continue to struggle. And we're going to look at the game today. I just wanted to update everybody from the picks from yesterday. So you went 1-3, hitting with the Mariners, but losing with the Mets, Rays, and Braves. I went 3-1, hitting with the Yankees, the Astros, and the Twins, losing with the White Sox. But that being said, I'm 10-7-1, you're 7-11, still plenty of time left in this pick segment. We mentioned the Pittsburgh series, and I believe we have a matchup today. It's a 7:00 game, right, with the Mets?
7:20, actually.
7:20. I know we got Brew Baker versus Carrasco.
Right.
And I'm just curious here. I'm sure, you could give us your synopsis, but it just before you do a kind of a detailed breakdown here, in your eyes, can you feel it? Because I know you didn't feel it yesterday. Just speaking offensively, is tonight the night where it heads back in the other direction?
Yeah, I think it certainly could be. We mentioned that, Alonso's pretty hot right now. The back-to-back games with home runs, I feel like I haven't said that in a while because Alonso's been kind of struggling. And I think that is going to be the little bit of a spark we kind of need. I mean, when you think about it, Pete Alonso is one of the faces of the team right now. And throughout this kind of stint of poor play from the Mets, he's been kind of at the head of struggling, specifically at the plate. And that kind of transitioned to some poor plays out at first base. And I think, him getting, some good dingers back to back. And then with tonight, with Carrasco coming back, I mean, well, he's been back for basically 2 starts. The first start against Washington, I mean, he clearly was still not healthy. Comes back against Miami, 6 innings, 1 earned run. And that was when the Mets did score 11 runs. So I think Carrasco's going to come out here, not have much issue against Pittsburgh. And then because of that, the Mets, like you mentioned, they're not going to be thinking, oh my God, we're down. What are we going to do? They're going to be kind of even keeled, thinking that we got this. They scored 3 runs yesterday still, which, you could say is an improvement from the past few games. And I kind of think they will continue to be on the high rise. So I'm certainly looking to Alonso to have a big game. Give me like a 2 for 4, maybe another dinger. Third game in a row, and then just, get on base to start off the game. Like that first inning, you're up, just get on base, bud. Same thing with Nimmo. You're leading off this lineup. You can't be going 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. You got to get on base, start the game off with a hit, get people going, get the dugout excited, which I think can certainly happen. And then, with again, we're playing the Pirates here, so you really wouldn't think our bullpen, who's backing up Carrasco, whether it be Lugo, or if Diaz has to come in, or whoever, dude. I mean, they really shouldn't have much of an issue with Pittsburgh here. I know that we lost one against the series in Pittsburgh, but you're looking for the sweep now, and I think it's certainly very much on the horizon for the Mets here. I would expect, like I mentioned, a bigger offensive game. I would say the Mets can take this one 5-2 and feel pretty damn good about it.
Now, what's the line for Carrasco?
I would say he'll give you maybe 6 1/3. Probably giving up maybe a dinger or a couple hits in that 7th inning, and then getting pulled. So 6 1/3, maybe 4 or 5 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, 5 Ks.
And do you feel, he has a shot, to possibly get the 3rd spot in the playoff rotation, after, what we saw to Bassett last time? I know other than that, he's been pretty good. And, Carrasco, I guess, was decent last time, right? We was out there.
Against Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 innings, 1 earned run, no walks.
So, I mean, do you think there's any chance at that? Or do you feel like, he's kind of really going to be the 4th starter regardless?
I mean, if he were to sneak in at the 3rd spot, Bassett would kind of continue to be kind of a poor starter, and Carrasco would have to be, obviously really good to be like, all right, like at this point, like we're gonna put him in 3. So I would say that's pretty unlikely.
Yeah. So good, just something interesting to watch. But obviously, they gotta hope today is the day where this gets turned around. Because time is of the essence. Believe it or not, we're already today marks September 15th. So you could say that's the unofficial halfway point of the month. So not much time left. You got 2 series in October, and then playoff baseball time, something that we're all really looking forward to here. And then with the Braves off here, a win for the Mets, full game lead going into tomorrow. So that's obviously what they're looking for here. And I just wanted to see in totality, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I believe 8 exactly. So just enough to go 4 apiece here. So for me, looking at these games, kind of tough. Just with the limited schedule. Where to really go, but I hate just starting out with a layup, but it's just too attractive here. And how about this too, Tony? I'm gonna go with the Cards, but Miles Mikolas on the hill, 11-11. In a day where starters are removed early in the game,
Right.
and these pitch counts are so low. I don't know if I've seen a guy have 22 decisions like this. I mean,
No.
especially I don't know. It just really pops out in the page. I mean, Carrasco actually 14-6. Very underrated that Carrasco has 14 wins. Like you
Yeah.
wouldn't think that.
No, you really wouldn't. Also, I didn't realize that he's like 36 years old.
Yeah, no, he's up there, but still has a live arm.
Yeah, he does.
But yeah, definitely, that kind of sneaks up on you. But as far as the Cardinals here, I think Pujols, it's been a few games. I think he's due for number 698. We know how excited everyone is for number 700. Miles Mikolas, it's been an up and down season, but overall, I mean, steady with that 3.42 ERA. Chase Anderson hasn't pitched too much this year, but I kind of think he's kind of washed. So I think the Cardinals look at this as an opportunity, to pick up another win, which would be their 85th of the year. And that would give them a half game on the Brewers, who are off today. So give me the Cardinals. I want to say Arenado goes deep as well. I don't think this one is necessarily close. I think it's going to be 7-3 Cardinals over the Reds today.
All right. Yeah. I mean, how could you argue with that? My next pick here, my second pick, I'm going to go actually with the Phillies, who I know obviously Brian doesn't think of them very well, but they've been on a sneaky hot streak right now. They've won, I mean, at least 5 games in a row here. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games here. They swept Washington. They're about to sweep Miami. It seems because they've won 2 in a row. And tonight they're in Miami. Noah Syndergaard's on the mound for the Phillies, and I know we don't go for Syndergaard.
Yeah, that caught me off guard. I guess you're just kind of going more the team than Syndergaard.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like Miami, Syndergaard has been, I guess, giving you some length in terms of pitching, but it looks like a lot of his last few starts is 3 earned runs. And I think the Phillies are going to score way more than that if Miami even scores 3 earned runs, because when you look at the past 2 games, Miami only scored 2 runs in the past 2 games. And the Phillies were able to score 6 yesterday to the first game. And before that, they were actually scoring, it seems, 20 runs in the past in 3 games against Washington. So, obviously it seems like their bats have been pretty hot. So I would say the Phillies continue those hot at bats. And I would say they take this one, let's say 5-2.
All right. So for my second selection here, gotta fade a player that used to be one of my favorites. I really thought he was going to do big things for the Yankees. Obviously, never even played for the team as he was traded before he reached the majors. But you have James Caprillion on the road here against the Houston Astros. Lance McCullers getting the start. And Caprillion, I mean, just looks awful. I mean, really does not look like a major league pitcher. As you would say, Tony, the Yankees made minced meat of him last time they faced him. Just not impressed with him. He can't strike guys out, and he just gives up a lot of hits, a lot of runs. So the Astros are going to roll here. I want to say this is 8-1. McCullers, 6 scoreless, and I want to say Yordan Alvarez. I believe it would be his 34th home run of the season, as they blow out the A's here.
Wow. All right, my next pick. These games are getting kind of gritty here, dude.
Yeah, right.
I mean, do we really trust Arizona?
I mean, do we really trust San Diego?
I know, dude.
Dude, what's with Sean Manaea? I mean, I think it's
5.5 ERA.
But don't you think it's like you put him on any other team, you'd be fine? It's just so toxic in San Diego right now.
I guess so, dude.
Melvin really might not survive this.
Oh, that sucks, man. I'm not gonna touch that. I'll go with the Rays tonight. Obviously, they've kind of struggled here against Toronto, but Shane McClanahan's on the mound. He's going for the Cy Young here in the AL. And I would think that maybe the Rays maybe turn around here, law of averages, get a few hits. I know Gossman's on the mound for Toronto. Not one of their best starters. So maybe Tampa Bay here can kind of turn around in terms of offense. Shane McClanahan's going to shut the door on them, I'm sure. He's going to give you 7 innings of 1 earned run ball. I think that the Rays can kind of squeak by here, 3-1.
Okay. So I'm actually, I know it goes against what I was just saying, but I'm gonna just
Padres.
just give me the Padres. I mean, it's like, listen, they got to win some games here, and if you look at it, recently, home series against the Diamondbacks last time they played them, they did take 2 out of 3, lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers, and then split a 2-game set with the Mariners. So Diamondbacks, Mania obviously getting tattooed, looking like Patrick Corbin, who, believe it or not, Tony, actually had a representative performance last night, was in line for the victory. Of course, the Nationals, as their bullpen has done all season, blowing the game late. But I think Mania kind of matches what Corbin does, gives him 6 innings, 2 runs, 8 strikeouts, gets that ERA down a couple totes. And I want to say Machado and Soto go back-to-back first inning to really kind of set the tone here. And the Padres, who, haven't had too many high-scoring games. If you look at it, I mean, it was probably 12, 13 games ago, they scored 13 runs against Kansas City. And they just really have not had too many high-scoring games since. So, yeah, let's say the Diamondbacks here, I'm not the Diamondbacks, but the Padres, 10-3 over the Diamondbacks, kind of setting the tone for, gearing up to hold off any competition here for that third and final wild card spot, as they look to not waste yet another season in sunny San Diego, Tony.
Oh boy. One more pick, Brian?
One more pick.
All right.
What minced meat are you going to leave me with, Tony?
I think I'm going to go with the White Sox tonight. They're in Cleveland for a one-off game, and then they're in Detroit, and then they're back in Cleveland. So I don't know if it's just like a makeup game or something.
Got to be a makeup game.
Right? But regardless, Lance Lynn here is pitching for the White Sox. And, we've talked about their struggles on and off the field this season. Lance Lynn, who's posting a 4.07 ERA right now, giving up 16 home runs this season. I mean, 6-5 record. Nothing great, I suppose. But, I feel like his stuff is still kind of there. I understand he struggled with some, location issues with, leaving balls on the middle of the plate when they shouldn't have been. Obviously struggling with, his offense trying to produce anything, which is why he's only 6-5. So he's had a little bit of a tough go at it, but I think against Cleveland here tonight, I understand Cleveland's on like a 6-game winning streak. I think it's going to be a loss here. I don't think the law of averages, as Brian would say, and Hunter Gaddis is on the mound for Cleveland. A young dude, 24, I guess, came up from the minors, has 1 start this season, and he's 0-1. And in that start, he only lasted 3 1/3, gave up 8 earned runs against Houston. So obviously a really good team. He gave up 2 home runs. He gave up 7 hits, 2 walks. So I feel like Hunter here is going to be the classic example of the young pitcher coming up, not settling in for a little while in the majors, having an issue against teams like the Astros and even teams like the White Sox. I think it's going to be somewhat of a hitting explosion. I say that the White Sox can take this one. I'm going to say 7-5.
All right. So that leaves me with the Twins Royals game, 7:40 from Target Field. You can get tickets as low as $2 for this one. I guess not everybody's excited about the Dylan Lynch versus Dylan Bundy matchup. Battle of the Dylans, and I think Bundy has the upper hand here. Royals are just a mess, and I know the Twins, haven't been setting the world on fire. They are 42-32 at home. Gary Sanchez, I believe, had a big hit yesterday. I'm going to say he has a dinger today. One of those deep dingers, and then tomorrow he'll strike out 6 times probably. But anyway, I think Bundy, 6 innings, 1 earned, give him 8 strikeouts, and give me the Twins here 5-1 over the Royals, and actually picking up a game with that Guardians loss there as they try to get into this playoff conversation, even though it looks like anyway that they're going to be on the outside looking in. So that's what we got for baseball. But now, Tony, it is time to go to the world of the National Football League.
6 for 101, 2 touchdowns. Uh-oh. To Evans! Touchdown, Tampa Bay! How about that throw? Sam Darnold blasted! Oh my goodness, did he take a hit? In trouble once! Brings him down! Lost one for Odell Beckham Jr. Got it down! Touchdown!
All right. So week 2 beginning tonight, and we have a matchup in the AFC West between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs. And in this one, the Chiefs are favored by 4 points here at home against their division rival. Scoring is expected to be high as the total set at 54. Both teams, coming off big week 1 wins. You look at the Chargers with a close one with the Raiders, the Chiefs with a laugher, against the Arizona Cardinals, where Patrick Mahomes 5 touchdowns when facing the blitz, and found his guy like he always does in Travis Kelce, who had 8 catches for 121 yards. So this is a series that's been very back and forth recent, and you look at 2 of the better quarterbacks in the NFL when it comes to Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. So I cannot wait to watch this one. This is going to be a lot of fun. And as I mentioned before, this is the start of the Al Michaels Kirk Herbstreit pairing on Prime Video. So everyone's talking about, going to be interesting to see what the ratings are on this one, going to a streaming app. Is there going to be a big decline? Are people going to be annoyed?
What do you think?
No, just
No
because
decline, no annoyance.
everybody, this, Tony.
I'm already annoyed.
And it infuriates you. This infuriates you even more. But everyone salivates for football. So regardless of it being a little more challenging, people are going to complain. But at the end of the day, they're going to watch the game. We've seen it before, and we're going to see it again. But that being said, and I feel like I want to, add one more pick here to the mix. So what I'm thinking, and tell me if you agree with this. So just to make it kind of interesting, because we could both want the same team to win. How about we do in this one with the spread, and you could actually have your pick of the litter here. The Chiefs 4-point favorites here, Tony. So with the spread, if you could give me your pick, and I will take the opposite side, whatever that may be. The ball is in your court.
I think the Chiefs cover the spread. 4 points, you said?
4 points.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you mentioned what the over-under was that like 54. I think that's kind of low, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, really, they could score 40 in the first half.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be something like that, where there's going to be a lot of scoring, early and often, as they say, and not necessarily because of the lack of defense, just because of the talent that the offenses have. And obviously, we know the quarterbacks of Mahomes and Herbert. They're obviously extremely talented, very versatile quarterbacks, have a lot of different, attributes to kind of, score. And they also have, a lot of good targets to kind of look at on the field here. So I would say that in the end of it, though, I mean, the Chiefs, I feel like, have that advantage in terms of, when it comes down to the fourth quarter, when there's 45 seconds left. I feel like Mahomes is that, has that edge on Herbert where he can really just march down the field confidently, score in a tight game, be up by a TD. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I would say that the Chiefs are going to win this one. I'm going to say 37-33. Sorry, no, 37-32.
Okay.
And obviously 33 would be a push.
So, yeah, I think like you said, this is going to be a shootout. That is for sure. And I actually have the Chiefs winning, but by 3, which would give me the victory there with the +4. And I think this is actually going to be one of the highest scoring, probably Thursday night games in NFL history. I'm going to say Kansas City 51, Chargers 48. And they're actually going with former Jet great Matt Amendola at kicker this week, with Harrison Butker nursing an ankle injury, and quite gritty out of him. I don't know if you saw this, but they had their defensive back, miss an extra point, was doing kickoffs, and then Butker with the injury hits a 54-yard field goal, doesn't even follow through the way he normally does. So he's obviously one of the best in the game, but they're going to rest him for this one. So I want to say what we're going to see here, maybe the Chargers might jump out, maybe at half it's 24-14. But then, as we've seen with Patrick Mahomes, never out of a game, he might have another 5 touchdown performance today. And I could see him, hitting Juju Smith-Schuster for 2 touchdowns. It seemed like they had good rapport. Give another one to Kelsey. And I think, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, a guy that I've been tough on, looked pretty good last game, scoring a couple TDs. So I think I could see him getting them, 70 yards on the ground, keeping that Chargers defense honest. But in the end, Amendola from 44 for the win, despite Justin Herbert matching Mahomes with 5 touchdowns of his own.
Love it, dude.
Yeah, so this is going to be a fun one. 8:15 Prime Video. Do you expect there to be any snafus with the new pairing there with Michaels and Herbstreit having never worked before?
No,
Michaels,
they're both professionals here. Yeah, I think they're going to be fine.
Do you think it's going to be they're going to thrive, or do you think it'll just be like pretty good but nothing crazy? Come the end of the season, how everyone's going to reflect on that pairing and broadcasting.
I think they're going to be the best pair for football games this season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, Al is a legend. That is for sure. And, Herbie's done a couple NFL games, obviously known on the college level. So as he tries to break through into the NFL.
But I mean, think of the rest of the people here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Buck and Aikman or Collinsworth.
Collinsworth and Tirico.
Oh.
Tirico needs Gruden back. And I know there's controversy there, but he needs his buddy, John Gruden, back. But 8:15 Prime Video. Can't wait to watch it. Can't wait to talk about it all with you guys tomorrow. And one thing I just wanted to touch on here before we come to a close, we do have, as I mentioned, the first PGA Tour event of the 2022-2023 season, 40 Net Championship, coming from the Silverado Resort and Spa North Course, Napa, California. So I'm sure, the guys in between rounds, maybe hit the vineyard, have a couple bottles of wine. So this field, a little different. You have some guys that just came over from the Corn Ferry Tour. Highlighting the field are a couple guys. First of all, last year's champ, Max Homa. A guy who's really, became big on social media, has a big following and has had some success. I think he had 3 victories last season. So he's a guy, of course, you're going to look at. And then one of my guys, Sahith Theegala, last year technically was his rookie season. He had played some PGA Tour events the year before. I'm expecting a big year. He's tough. He's made a lot of gritty, tough shots, and it just seems like he's always ready to compete. I expect him to have a good performance. And then, of course, you have former Masters champ Hideki Matsuyama, in this field as well. And he's a guy who turned down, I think it was $300 million from Liv to stay on the PGA Tour. So him showing his integrity there. You have former U.S. Open champion Webb Simpson, as well as 2020 champion Stuart Sink, who won at 54 years old. So now, obviously, being 56, he looks to add another trophy to his, long and definitely, respected career. So like I said, just a different type of field here. Not the names we're used to be talking about. Emmanuel Grillo, Kevin Streelman as well, Taylor Pendrith, and the Canadian Corey Connors. So I know it's so difficult, Tony, but you had to give me a name who's hoisting that trophy at the PGA Tour's opening event come Sunday afternoon.
I guess give me Hideki. Why not, dude? You mentioned the honorable move to stay with the PGA Tour, turning down the cash. He wants, obviously, to be on this prestigious PGA Tour.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking for the dub. He's looking for his legacy, not just to make a quick buck. Let's see him win it, dude. I want to see him hoist the trophy.
Let's go.
Mhm.
What a way to say I'm here, I'm
Right.
staying. Greg Norman, you can go kick rocks. That's what Hideki is saying. This is definitely a difficult one for me. But you know what? He's my guy. I've been impressed with him the last year plus. Sahith Thagala, Tony. Last time I picked him, I think he missed the cut. This time will be different. And I do think him, Matsuyama, and Max Homa will all be at the top of the leaderboard coming down the stretch.
Love it.
But Thagala separating himself from the field to pick up this victory. So gotta love that we start yet another PGA Tour season. And I think this one will be a little different with some of those high stakes events. And then obviously the big question coming into the PGA Tour season, how many times will we see the one, the only Tiger Woods? We know he'll do everything he can to play the 4 majors, but I'm just curious, does he get into any of the other events? Because his caddies even said, that's obviously Joe Licata, that he thinks him playing more will give him more of a chance to win, and he knows he wants to rest, but he needs to just kind of be familiar with the grind of a tournament. So maybe, he does a tournament like the Memorial, that's obviously Jack Nicklaus's tournament in Dublin, Ohio. He's always loved to play that one, and he's won it. I mean, geez, 8, 9 times. He always has loved the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Maybe he gives that a shot. I don't know if he'd be eligible for the Players Championship. I mean, I know he's won before, but he hasn't played much golf. But that's just something else that comes to mind. So really can't wait to see what happens there. And last question here for you, Tony. I know it's very unlikely just based on the general public perception. But do we get, I'm not even asking for a win, but a top 5 performance from Tiger in one of the majors this year?
No.
What's the best we get?
Ugh.
Do we get a 20?
I would say top 15.
Top 15. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, after what we saw,
Right.
in what the U.S. Open and the Open Championship, I mean, I think he would
love that.
He would take it.
Yeah.
He would take it. So definitely something to watch out for. But hopefully, Tigers continues to improve as this PGA season starts again. Other than that, Tony, anything else you'd like to add here?
Yeah, but first, a couple comments here, pertaining to a little bit of a current events here. It was our thoughts on the Phoenix Suns owner being suspended and fined for unsafe work environment. He does mention that LeBron James wants him gone from the NBA. Robert Sarver, owner of the Suns, have you been following his storyline at all?
Yeah, I mean, I heard about it briefly. But with stuff like that, I kind of leave that stuff to other people just because, listen, everybody, I mean, I'm not there. I'm not in tune with the situation. I don't know what's true and what's not. I mean, we hear so many things from so many different places all the time. So you got to just
Right.
hope that the league and Adam Silver, like he has done most of the time, does the right thing. I mean, that's all I could really say. And I have always thought, it's a shame that stuff like that has to happen to take away from the greatness of the game. And that's not just, exclusive to basketball, just in any sport, those type of things. I don't know. I don't want to have those conversations. And it's a shame that people force us to have them.
Yeah, no, it is obviously tough, and yeah, I guess Silver's all right, huh?
I mean, for the most part, like I
Yeah.
said, I just saw a quick thing. I know nothing about the case, and it's just like I said, I don't know. It's just I can't get wrapped up into that stuff because it's like I just feel like there's so much going on the court, on the field, that it's just it gets to be a lot.
Right. Does
You know?
Silver typically side with ownership?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's those are the people that give him his job,
give
that
him-
pay,
yeah.
that write his checks.
Mhm.
So you see that in the NFL as well with Goodell, and that's why there's been problems with him in the past.
Right.
But yeah, so just something to keep an eye out for sure. But other than that, I really would like to thank everybody for tuning in today. The Buffers, the Chokeries of the world, not to mention all of our loyal fans out there who continue to comment, like, and subscribe, as well as checking out those archives on the YouTube page, and who are trying to sneak in a couple last-second purchases of the summer collection before we get to the fall collection at downtimetv.com. But everybody, enjoy the day, enjoy the games, and we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.